back to our conversation at hand, right? So the reason, like as I said, like the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is because like if we don't know like what happened and why we are where we don't know how to like fix it, right? As an in general thing, right? And this is why like when you look at a problem and like me, like I grew up with HVAC dad, right? Like my dad, like he fucking did like heating and ventilation, right? And on top of that, he fixed kitchen equipment. So like if you don't know like why something's broke, then you can't fucking fix it. You know what I mean? And so and if you like end up having a problem of where like your fucking head keeps warping in your car because your car's overheating and you just keep replacing the goddamn head gasket and honing the fucking heads and like replacing them as a whole, right? You could just fix the fucking thermostat, you know what I mean? And like go, hey, look, that $3 part will save you, you know what I mean, like $1,000. It's so much easier that way. But we don't really have that conversation. We don't want to like we don't really have like the why is it that we are where we are and should we fucking fix it, right? As an ingenerable thing. And what happens if we get rid of some of the things that were done, right? And this is my idea about balkanization. Like, you know, that's why like in the other chat, I'm in the other server, you know what I mean? I'm the balkanizer, right? The reason why I am that person there is because of the fact that like, you know, well, number one, Fire Owl is the best person in the world to troll, right? But number two, it's also because of the fact that I I feel like the only way to solve the problems that we're facing in our world today and to get back to more of a sense of humanity is to really have a really basic conversation about like how did we get here and what should we do to try to like get our humanity back. Mm. And that's where my mental is, right? Is that we've really like over the past 200 years we've just gotten rid of all the things that make us human beings, you know, and I feel like we should get back to being humans. So you know I mean like that's why I kind of want to have this conversation about the history of things and why it is that, you know, like me and Fridge have been on a level of where like we've been looking around and what we've started noticing and what we've started doing like throughout the history is that we see that like the reason why Rome fell was two reasons. One, the cosmopolitanism, but number two, because of Christianity, right? And yes, the reason why like we have like all these technological advancements and you know whether or not you believe we're going to space is whatever. You know what I mean? Like I know, you know what I mean, like some motherfuckers don't believe that shit, but like whether or not you believe like the reasons why we have the ability to do all the crazy things that we do and like, you know, fly across the world and have like the ability to communicate back and forth, you know, is because of the fact that we do have this, you know what I mean, like we have this liberalism and we have this individualism which has driven us to stand here and have this massive amount of technological advancement. But, you know, we don't really we're not humans anymore. And what is the use of having all this technological advancement? It's like literally like going out back and digging a pool by fucking hand and making it like the most amazing pool with a grotto, the diving board, and the sliding thing, right? And then looking at your kids and going, you can't play in that. Like, what was the purpose of building that fucking pool? Like, what's the reason why we did all this shit? What's the reason why we did it? Anybody? Nobody?
Yeah. So no, I'm kind of listening, trying to make sure I can hear you and understand you correctly. So yes, I think one of the cool things about being human is we're really flexible and adaptive. But your point is that why live in misery where you're just working, 60 hours a week, and maybe you don't have a family? Like, what's the point? You know. And so, you know me, I always talk about abundance. Like too much shit, too much freedom can cause some problems because I think human beings as an animal, you need some structure
Mm.
because most people, they're not going to provide the structure themselves. And I know you've got like the Hutterites and the Amish, and they kind of are off the beaten path a bit, and they have their own structure, I guess. But most people aren't going to do that. They're not going to willingly do that. They're going to consume the easy, cheap, you know, calories, and they're going to play the video games, and they're going to live that life. And it's because it's there. And so your question, I guess, to us is, if they're aware of something better, how do you transition? And I think that at least in America, you still have the freedom to do that, kind of. Like you can go to Alabama and homestead if you really want to, or even Texas, but you can do it tax free. I think if you're 55 or older, but um,
Okay.
ideologically, I don't know how you accomplish it because there's just too much free shit for people to enjoy. And sadly, it'll just keep on until it's not there anymore. And then like the main thing we don't want to see is, like, well, maybe Tom wants to see it. I don't know. I want to put words in his mouth, but I don't want to see, like domestic destabilization and unrest, because it's going to be crazy if that were to happen. You don't want to live in cities and see things fall apart because welfare support systems and economies are breaking down. Ideally, you'd want to look at the trajectory we're on and say, hey, why don't we stop this and do something that's sane? Like, why don't
All
we
right.
refocus on something that's sustainable?
Okay. Are you done? I don't want to step on you.
Yo, man, listen. Today's sponsor is Rad Light. All right, they provide all types of things. All right, originally, you know what I'm saying, it was just laser pointers and things of this nature, but they got like 2 toys for your cats, laser module, like boards with lasers on them, right? Remote control mouses for your cats to play with. They got credit card scanners, right? They got, laser diodes, RC drones, laser pens, battery packs, rechargeable batteries, lasers that, like set things on fire, right? They also got, man, listen, the original set of products. They got the little laser right here with the USB charger that does like stars and butterflies and mice and smiley faces and red dots, right? They got fucking purple lasers that do purple things, right? They got, the little lightsaber lasers that are amazing, right? Little pen lasers for all your needs if you want to stand here and give like a little talk. And you know the deal, all right? All you have to do is stand here and enter Pnoid at checkout, right? Pnoid, all lowercase letters at checkout. You know what I'm saying? And you receive a discount on the order, and Tom Peace will get paid. You'll go order some stuff. Listen, the summertime's coming, Mother's Day's coming. And look, your mother probably got like 18 cats because she's a single mom. I know none of y'all on the channel who watch me got a fucking dad. Real shit. Go and check out Radlight and grab you some stuff for your dad's cat. It's going to be awesome. All right. That's code Pnoid at checkout. Yo, thank you. And let's continue with the video.
Because you had a great flow there. And, I just want to make sure you're done.
You won't offend me or run me off. You can do whatever you want. I'm just here to be a supporter of Tom's
Bastards.
podcast.
Yeah, Iron Bastard's awesome. Like, he's one of the coolest motherfuckers. Like, legitimately.
I appreciate that.
Like, I'm just trying to respect, right? Because, like, there aren't a huge number of people I hear on the internet with actually something to say. So when I hear somebody with actually something to say, I want them to make sure to, like, be able to, say their piece before I jump in. Right. That's all I want to say on that. So I don't want to, like, just piss on that beautiful speech you just put, but I will say this. If there were hot bitches, then you would not have the problem of, like, modern men in Gen Z or whatever being fucking lazy pieces of shit.
But there are hot bitches.
No. You look at the statistics and, like, something like 2/3 of people are fucking obese, right?
Well, that's all right. Listen, that's
I mean, I don't know. I go to the gym, so
yeah, that's a secondary thing. Like, that's a symptom. It's not a motherfucking, like, a causal problem.
No. Well, it's one of these things that it's like a flywheel effect, right? Where a cause becomes a symptom, which becomes a cause, right? And as an in general thing, you know that a patient is terminal when treating a symptom causes or treating a disease causes another disease or another symptom to exasperate to the point that it would kill them, right? The most basic idea here would be that if you've got somebody with a really high fever, but if you give them a fever medication, um, the fever medication lets the virus, keep going to the point where it just fucking kills the person, right? So that's kind of where we're at on that. So my opinion is that if there was
Yeah, man. Listen,
a
your alarm's going
way
off, bro.
for, yeah, sorry, I'm making some hash browns because I'm a
Goy
drunk
slop.
fuck.
Because
Okay.
goy slop. I got you.
Right. Anyhow, uh, anyhow. So here's the thing. If you were 18 years old right now and you didn't know what you know today, which is like that's a weird mindset to put yourself in, and basically only Cappy out of all of us could really put themselves in that mindset, right? I kind of wish he was here.
Oh,
Um,
I can do it. I can tell you the differences between how I looked at the world then and how I look at it now, and it's
no, no,
sad.
no. Like it's not just how you look at it; it's like how you would have to look at it, right? Because today, if you're a young buck trying to make your way through the world, right? Um, we're at a point where if you are just like a
May
regular,
I interject?
go for it.
Yeah, so there was an article on Reddit today, a video, a TikTok video that was
Plat
reposted.
it.
Yeah, well, I read a lot of different sites, not just Reddit. But no, there was a teacher, with like rainbow LGBTQ, stuff. But she was kind of talking about. I think she's a band director, but she was talking about the problems that her students were faced with or whatever. But she kind of got off the trail a bit. And she was saying that the kids are not invested in their future or really anything other than how they're going to be entertained in the next 5 minutes. And that's kind of a direct result of technology messing with them. And so all I can tell you, Agent Colorblind, uh, is that when I was 18, I was heavily invested in my community and society, had a lot of idealism. I was very kind-hearted, and you're punished if you do that. So teachers and other people are noticing that 12-year-olds and, like, I guess Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whatever, they're not invested in anything other than what's going to entertain them in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel
all right,
you.
and so here's the thing. I also think that has, I don't want to say drop their IQ, but most definitely drop their intelligence and like knowledge of what's around them. Right. Let me tell you what happened last night. Google. Have you heard about what happened with XV? Google.
No.
So yesterday we were talking about they brought up s'mores, right? And this is the most amazing thing ever. And XV didn't
Oh, okay.
know,
I heard about that. Yeah, you didn't know what a s'more was.
right? But he
Oh, it's
literally,
not just
Near
that;
graham
it's worse.
cracker.
yo, he sat here and he said that like, the Graham crackers, right, are expensive, right? He didn't even know how to pronounce Graham, right? Like on some like very basic
Dude, I'm
things.
guilty of.
What?
I mispronounce things a lot, but it was pretty obvious in that conversation he was looking it up because he's so detached from
Reality?
the world. Because, from reality in the world, because he really is. That he was looking up what is a s'more and how do you make it. And he's reading it. It's pretty obvious that he was doing. He wasn't just mispronouncing it. He was like Graham crackers.
Right. I mean, like
And I
this
think
is.
a good thing for a young person to have would be able to say, I don't know. Like, there's nothing wrong with saying, I do not know, I do not understand.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
going to go
that's
ahead and bring this
that's a
back to
hard thing
my
for all
particular
children.
point.
Like almost all boys have a hard time saying I don't know,
All people,
right, and asking for help,
all
right?
people.
Yeah, that's very very different. Well, anybody who's filled with testosterone to the brim and wants to kill everything has a very hard time asking for help or saying I don't know. You know, I mean, that's something that
Well,
even I took a long
yes,
time to get to.
Right,
and you
right.
got to tell them it's okay. You got to, like, it's actually harder for you to say I don't know. Big ego thing. You got to overcome that, and that's something that I think children and teens are always going to struggle with in any kind of environment. Is saying, well, look, man, I don't know. Show me. Like, let me figure this out, or whatever.
Right, right. So, like, I'm just going to throw this out here. When I was 14 years old, I went out and I baled hay. Like, I baled hay bales for about fucking 12 hours a day for a couple weeks every summer. And I didn't do that for pay. I did that to impress a female I was trying to fuck.
Well, yeah, 90% of what we did back then was
It
to impress a female, though.
Yeah. I'm not trying to flex or anything. I am saying that that experience is entirely normal, and the lack of that experience is what's wrong with Gen Z.
I feel you, right? I do. You know what I mean? But like, it's just Gen Z as a whole, right, have had screens in front of their face their entire goddamn lives, right? And now I think that that entire generation might be borderline retarded. Like they don't.
Well,
Yeah,
they
yep.
kind of have to know what a woman is to impress them too, and I think there's some confusion about that on their end.
Yeah. I mean, Matt
Uh,
Walsh has been running around going, "What is a woman?" for the past like 5 years. It's I think maybe he's stuck in an eternal loop where that's all he knows how to do is just go say, "What is a woman?" Like I'm 95% sure. Right. But that's Joe. Gen Z is as a whole, right? They don't know anything. Like they live their whole lives on a fucking screen, you know. And if they have any kids at all, I'll be fucking surprised.
like I'm gonna be surprised if even Gen Z has kids. Not Gen Z. Fucking millennials have kids. As an in
Millennials had
general
some. We
thing.
had some kids, not a lot, but we had some kids.
Life finds a way.
Hmm.
So that's the thing about
Uh,
human beings; they do enjoy having sex. Like, if there's a way, they'll have some kids eventually.
you say that, but like janissaries are a thing.
But yeah, I feel you, right? You know what I mean? But again, like, and so, all right, anyway, like, so getting back to the original topic at hand, like how the fuck we got here, right? Like, we've taken this model of everybody being an extreme individual to a level of where it is so unhealthy that we're no longer even animals anymore. And I don't know
Hmm.
what to do. We have to get back to like the idea that we are like a species on this planet and we are connected to this planet.
Well, there are two ways you solve this problem, in my opinion. And I'm thinking specifically of like Calhoun's, like Rat Utopia or whatever. So you can do like the Amish, and you can put artificial constraints on your life, and most people aren't going to do that.
No.
Or you can truck along until shit fails, and then you'll have to, because if you don't, you're going to die. So I don't know, like, that's the more likely scenario. I don't think through policy or through personal agency and discipline, people are going to put constraints on their life. They're going to lead them to being part of something.
Well, I mean, I
Um,
think through policy we can do it, right? We can put those artificial constraints on through policy. That
Not at
can
this. I
happen.
think there's too much generational like poverty and slave thinking that people are just going to riot if you start to do it through policy. They're about to do it now. I think like it's going to be an interesting year.
What do you think they're going to
Okay, are
do?
you talking about generational bullshit or ethnic bullshit? Because those
Generational.
are
Yeah,
like
ethnic bullshit doesn't matter, bro. Like, yeah, we're all kind of in this together at this point.
I would disagree. Because, like, the basketball Americans are definitely in it for themselves.
Right.
Uh-oh, Hoops is getting mod abused.
Yeah. I just saw that. Yeah, I just saw that shit. Right. Yeah, like that's kind of where we are. Is that like I'll be honest, man. Like they don't like. All right, so the basketball Americans, right, are in a worse position than anybody the fuck else in this country, right? And it's literally because of the fact that not only do they not have a heritage, even if like they have no idea like what their heritage would have been. Like they are literal like aliens in a world. They're generational
It's
aliens. Like it's awful.
it's worse than that. I think Jay-Z did a little cartoon about it, but they have this idea of what it is to be black, just like pushed in their head all the time, constantly, 24/7. Of this is who you are, and it's not. But it's like
I mean, it
everybody's
is.
subjected to some level of false reality.
Well, it is though.
Well,
I
it
Like
is
mean,
now because they
that's their culture,
it
but
just
that
is now.
is it is like that is what it is to be black, man. Like like when you talk about these things, like you have to like everybody's like yo, motherfucking like yo, man, that's not really a thing. I'm like yo, it is. Like go to the
Well,
hood.
it's relevant to
That's
this
what it is.
conversation too.
Go ahead.
It's that
I would
song where he
have
says
more.
he
Go for
says,
it.
"I'm not black, I'm OJ." It's the story of OJ or whatever. He's like,
Yeah.
"Hey guys, I'm not black, I'm OJ. I'm an individual." Well, no, he can't be.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I would have a whole lot more sympathy for them if it weren't for the fact that they get like a whole fucking leg up on me whenever I'm trying to fucking apply for a job or fucking apply for a scholarship or apply for a fucking anything, right? And I see that like BAME or what the fuck ever acronym or whatever, it gets preferred goddamn treatment on everything. Like, yeah,
Man, listen,
I would be a
I don't know,
lot
that doesn't bother me,
like
bro. Like
motherfucker. I
how
don't give
many
a shit about
how
what
many
your
black people
opinion
do you
is
have
on this.
out there?
Not a whole lot, but a lot of fucking Mexicans who get the same goddamn treatment. Understand that the Federal Reserve is withholding funding from any college that doesn't have at least 25% Hispanics attending.
Well, I mean that's retarded. You know, what I mean that is completely retarded. There's no reason that you should have 25% Hispanics. Like, there's not even any tacos at Harvard. Like, what are they gonna do? You know what I
I
mean?
know. I am aware of this. This is why fucking what's her face DeSoto, the Supreme Court justice, got in where she was, right? Like this is the problem where like the United States government is not just putting a thumb, but a whole goddamn fist on the scale against what I
White
hate the
people,
fucking
white
term
people,
white,
white people.
but like against white people in every fucking legal sense that it can.
Well,
And it is
listen.
like
So here's again, we get back to bro. Like, all right, so you have two things that are driving this thing, right? Which is the original idea of like the whole like anti-cousin marriage, which led to an what I mean more out group like fucking I don't want to say preference, but what I mean like I don't know out group. It's not a preferentiation, but it is today. Like it originally started off as like a willingness to like work with the fucking out group, right, and willingness to trust other people who weren't your family, right, and then what I mean it's the mentality of today where the system will only survive if they can make everybody come together, right, and be able to be in the system. That's the only way the system survives is if it has 100% like fucking everybody willing to go with it, right? And I don't see that happening, right? But there's going to be a lot of people thrown into jails or re-educated or beaten into submission for this type of shit.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna go ahead and own up to my fucking prejudice here. Like, I got beat out of a bunch of fucking like
What?
masters and doctorate programs just because they had a bunch of fucking women and minority fucking programs only. And I had to compete against a bunch of fucking Asians
No, yeah,
and every fucking
the women are
American.
gonna do better than you, right? Because like they're more compliant, and
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
school is.
No, because like they have entirely separate selections, right? Like the way it worked was that I had to compete against all the white people and all the Asians, while all the black people and Mexicans and women got to compete for the other half of the slots,
Yeah,
right?
I just mod abused
So
hoops.
sorry, what?
I just mod abused hoops just to do it.
I
You know,
didn't hear
it's
you,
giving him
so I'm
something else to focus on. That's good.
I just wanted to mod abuse him real quick. You know what I mean? Like I
The
feel
man
like
is keeping him down.
yeah, fuck that guy, right? But like, yo, listen, man. You know, again, like you're not compliant, right? And like, I don't know if you would have made it through those fucking programs anyway. Like, yo, you would have lost your shit and probably killed yourself the time before it was fucking over with.
Dude, he's not wrong. I've seen PhD students pretty much if it's a rigorous program, they come out of it with a clinical depression, like 100% of the time. It's not easy. It takes a lot out of you. I think it's better actually. It's just my personal opinion, but I think it's better if you go later in life after you've got yourself stable and you're emotionally more even keel, because it's a very stressful thing if you're actually doing research and doing something unique.
I was trying to go into it at 26 ish. I forget the exact age. After I had already gone through surgery and nearly died. So I want to go ahead and say that I was more mature and I kind of blew through it the second time around. Um, yeah, yeah.
Did
So
you get a master's or?
no, I just straight up got a bachelor's, and
Oh,
I tried to get a master's degree, and every single master's program that I applied to either told me that I couldn't match up to all the Asians that I was competing against, or that I would have had to gotten another bachelor's degree in order to even qualify for the program.
Mm.
if you don't mind me asking, what were you studying?
My bachelor's was in physics.
Yeah, what were you going for? Were you going for a physics PhD or?
I did try for physics. I tried for astrophysics and computational physics for a master's and PhD. I also tried for aviation PhD and a couple different disciplinary studies.
But like, yo, in the end of the day, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, like
Like, and I'm not trying to say all poor me. I'm saying that like
yo, listen, bro.
I
Like,
am
and like,
like
yo, when we have these conversations, right? So, like, the reason
right. Go
why
for it.
all these people are in debt, right, to like all these colleges and like all the shit happened, and like the reason why like everybody's all stressed out about this type of shit is because like they've made shit stupid unstable by trying to keep down prices and keep down the cost of labor by bringing in massive amounts of fucking people, while at the same time not investing in any like real infrastructure or social programs or, you know, what I mean, like like any of the things that would go with having a modern society. Like this
Or even
mentality,
labor.
your union, whatever the fuck, whatever, just pick something. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, right? like this idea of standing here being, how do I put this? Like this idea of jumping through all these hoops to get, a bullshit job, is fucking nonsense in the first place. Right? You shouldn't be standing here like chasing after, like finances this fucking much, like spending the first 30 years of your fucking life just getting an education. You know what I mean? Yo, he's still getting mod abuse. That wasn't even me this
You're
time.
not wrong, but like it's an entirely different level of fucked up where even if you spend your first 30 years of trying to chase after like an education to actually get a halfway decent job, where like you still end up fucked. Like
And this is kind of what I'm saying,
like
right? This is exactly what I'm saying. Like, again, we get back
something
to,
like
and you're not happy.
I forget the exact.
Like, none of these people are fucking happy.
Yeah, something like I forget the exact statistic, but 80 or 90% of people who are making six fucking figures, that is 100 grand and more,
Yeah.
right, are living paycheck to paycheck right now.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a lie. That was the statistic 2 years ago. I don't think it's gotten any better since then. Right, so now, admittedly, a lot of that is like quote unquote tech workers and females living in big cities who are just spending every fucking dollar they get, right? But, like, the fact is that you need to make 100 grand a year in America in order to just kind of get by.
Right.
Less than like half of people make that amount.
Again, this is what I'm saying, right? And again, like we get back to, it's instability in the system, as just an in general thing. It's complete instability. That it's been this way since the 70s.
Yeah. But like, part of the problem is that like these the boomers especially were able to get in on the base level of a lot of bubbles, right? And whereas our generation, meaning like the millennials, Gen Z, Gen X generally, basically the only bubble they were able to get in on the base on was
Bitcoin.
crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically Bitcoin. And if you missed that fucking train, I mean, I guess you could probably still try to get on it. Probably not. Like, I don't know what to tell anyone who is like coming up in this world today. Like,
well, I
our
tell
friend
them,
Kathy.
I tell my kids,
Go
like,
for
yo, family. You know what I'm saying? Like, people, relationships, these type of things are like, in the end of the day, are what's going to fulfill your life. You know what I mean? You're not going to have a fulfilling life. Like, money's not going to fulfill you. You know what I mean? And this is kind of the problem.
But like, yeah, but like the issue isn't that like, how do I put this? It's not that you can't get enough money to fulfill you. It's that you can't even get enough money to like get by in any sort of reasonable way, right? Like you can't actually
listen,
plan for the
it depends.
future.
It depends on like how you're willing to live, right? That's really in the end of the day what it's about. Like I know guys, right, up here in my neck of the woods who live at a campground in an RV, right? And they make really decent money, but they don't spend any of it. So like they're able to have like their boat and go fishing every day. And if they want to take time off, they can do it. And they live their lives this way. And I feel like it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
better way.
Yeah. I feel you, but they're still living fucking hand to mouth.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah. What I'm saying is that there is no way to fucking save and plan for your goddamn life.
yeah, but yo,
Like
again,
goddamn human being.
yeah, but like we're not.
Like
Yo,
that is
listen,
what a human being does.
it's
Is
not.
they
That's what an
plan for
All
their
right,
Anglo-Saxon
boys, I
does.
have to
fucking
dip. I'll
life.
see you guys later.
Peace,
Later,
Google.
dude.
Right. Like
See you
that's
around,
what.
Google.
That's what.
And
That's
this
what.
might just be because like I have a fundamentally different goddamn concept of life than a fucking med like you, right? Where like my family, the way I was raised and the way that everybody I know lived was that yeah, we're not a whole lot smarter than anybody else. We're not a whole lot harder working than anybody else. We're not like a whole lot better than anybody in any particular aspect. But like whatever lever you have, you just crank the shit out of it, right? If you're gonna fucking work as hard as you can until you realize that you're not really getting a whole lot more out of it. You're gonna plan as far ahead as you can until you realize that okay, it's not really gonna get you a whole lot more out of it. You're gonna do all of these things the most that you can. Um, and what I see when I try to do that calculation myself is that basically none of these things work anymore. Like you can bust your ass every goddamn day and you're not going to get ahead. You can plan as far ahead as you want and it's not going to make any fucking difference because everything's going to change in 2 years.
All right. So let me I was talking with my son last night, right? And I told him, I said, "Do you know like the reason like the whole premise was of like living where we lived, you know what I mean, like when I was married." And he said, like, no. I said, listen, the trick is not to stand here and have, you know what I mean, like a really, really, really nice shit. It's to be able to live and not have any payments, right? Because he's been bragging. He's like, I got a 745 credit score, Dad. What do you got? And I was like, man, listen, bro. I have a life, right? Like you have nothing. You know what I mean? That 745 credit score, all it's going to do is put you into debt in the end of the day, right? That what that number is
Yeah,
your
that's going to cost you
relationship.
more on your mortgage.
It's gonna fucking, it's your relationship with the bank, right? In the end of the day, right? That's what a credit score is. It's just your relationship with debt, right? And debt's the most dangerous thing you can
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
That's
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and so like, and so, and
let
wait,
me
and
piss
so like,
even
and so
more
like,
on
here,
this
wait,
thread.
wait,
Go
and
for
so,
it.
and here's what the premise was, right? It's like, look, we had a house that was paid off, right? We had cars that were all paid off, right? We had a boat that was fucking completely owned, right? We had like all this stuff, like was all ours, and there was no payments, there was no monthly dues, right? So that way, like, if life got hard, you know what I mean, or I
Was
got laid off, I could go and work at McDonald's and be able to continue to afford living and having groceries, and everybody would still eat. That's the premise that you're looking for.
yeah. I get you, but you just kept using the word was.
Right? I mean, again, and this can still be done rather easily, right? It's just a matter of getting yourself into that
Yeah.
situation.
But like, yeah. I feel you, but like, I think that it's probably worth noting that you were talking all in past tense there.
Well, yeah, yeah. And I mean, I'm not married anymore, and I got divorced, and now I have massive amounts of child support I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
pay.
Right, right. Like, so here's part of the problem that I'm saying is that, like, and I'm in not exactly the same situation, obviously, because I'm a childless fucking weirdo.
Yo, man,
I
everybody in
should
here but me
probably
is a
try to.
childless weirdo. All right, I'm the
Yeah,
weirdo for having children at this point.
yeah. There's a trailer park next door. I'm tempted to go run over there and just fucking literally pick up a bitch and see what I can do.
I mean,
Uh,
I'll be real. Out of the 3, 4, 5, 6, out of the 10 people in these two VCs, there's only 2 of us that have kids. And
right.
the age is, it's
And
not like everybody's young. Like, yo, motherfucking, what, we got 30, motherfucking 18, goddamn 23, 30, fucking 24, 50, 40, fucking, what are you, 32, Fridges, I think it is 30s, and Iron's fucking 46. Like, again, it's not like the ages are crazy, but there's only 2 of us who have kids, and like,
right,
out of the 3 people 40 or older, only one of us does. Right? I mean, this is the world we
right.
have today.
And yeah, I mean, part of my fucking problem is that I'm so autistic at this point that, like, I do not really want to have a kid unless I can homeschool them, and that is fucking expensive.
It's not that expensive.
Uh,
And like, yo,
getting less.
believe it or not, yo, kids are not really expensive. You just don't buy them the dumb shit that white people do. It's stop buying the game systems and like computers and shit. Like, yo, buy them a fishing rod and some hooks, and they'll be way happier. My kid has a toy
Right,
fishing rod
right.
that he just drags around the house all day long. Like, yo, this is the goddamn problem. Like, and I'll be real. Here's some other shit that, like, I'm gonna tell you, bro. Like, yo, look, I live in this little white community, right? And there's people here who have like 6 and 7 and 8 kids all over the place. There's like 5 families with like 6 kids, right? Do you know what they all have in common?
Mm,
Every one of them, it's like a really in shape dude, you know what I mean, tattooed, like fucking, you know what I mean, like type of guy that, you know, I'll be real, like almost any female would be like really happy fucking with a fucking fat bitch. Every one of them.
I suppose that is my problem. I don't want, like, an obese woman.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. Like, yo, it's the like, if you want to have a relationship where you're going to be happy, where like you're the one who's in charge of the relationship, and you're the one who like dictates how things goes, and you're the one who's like is secure in that relationship. You don't have a female who like everybody else wants to fuck all the time.
Like, I
It's
the
yo,
only
it's
problem I
what
have
up?
with that statement is that,
Okay.
like,
I'm done on the game.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
good
go.
shit.
But the problem that I have with that statement is that, like, a 7 from a 7 for a female in 1990 is like a 11 today.
Yeah.
It's part of the fucking problem.
Again, bro. Like
Um,
again, we get back to son. Listen, you should be the best that she can do.
yeah,
We have these ideas from like these like the Simpsons, where it's this fat obese dude, right, who's bald headed with this chick with a really shapely figure. You know what I mean? And like all the other dudes in the neighborhood wants her. That relationship doesn't. Yo, he's getting mod abused again. That relationship doesn't work. It never does.
yeah, like I definitely feel that. Um, and that's part of the reason why I'm fucking dieting. Um, by the way, I'm down to 205 from
Good job, buddy.
210 like
Good job,
a
buddy.
week ago. That's mostly just me not eating a shitload every day.